Okay, I'm live. I'm just going to double check on my phone. Just wait here. Okay. Okay, it's good. I almost lost my computer. I went live previously. I apologize, everyone, for everything. I think my computer is on its final on its final legs, unfortunately. So I didn't think it was going to reboot. I had to sit there and wait for quite a while. So I apologize for that. We're back. The internet connection should be better. So I don't know what's going on, but I have my notes for September. So I'm going to jump into this. Actually, I'll quickly touch on what I was covering before we lost connection. I wanted to quickly highlight what I covered in my car, what I mentioned regarding what could be happening right now with a lot of people. So in the month of September, we're going to have 5 months or 5 planets going retrograde in the month. What by September, by the month of September, and I'll walk you all through it. Um, but because of this year 9, so remembering again, I'll just reiterate because I know I don't want to keep repeating myself over and over again. But going into September, this was a month that I've been anticipating for quite some time, especially given a universal month 9, a universal year 9, and then a traditional month 9. And also, we are going into a week 9 for the first week in September. And I'm going to highlight it all again. I'll try to cover everything that I already covered. But touching on what I mentioned in my car about how many people have been talking about feelings and sensations that there are stalls and delays and feeling squeezed, even maybe financially or emotionally or mentally. And by mentally, I mean just really having very active mind. And even physical sensations, in all honesty, could be part of the equation. But when we have all these planets and the planets that are in retrograde and that will all be in retrograde are heavy hitting planets. They're big deal planets, right? But going into this month, and I've been anticipating September for quite some time. A lot of you know this. I've been talking about it for a while. I thought actually August was quite an interesting month. It was quite an interesting month. It was full of very powerful opportunities and energies and transits and numerology placement or numerology. I guess I would say the month not month 8 with a couple weeks in there that were very strong. We're ending the month on a very strong note. So there's a lot of powerful energy that's surging, especially for the last week, given astrology, numerology, and just even if you're following the Schumann resonances, if you're into that, there's been a lot of activity there. However, going into the month 9, now again, we have 999 energy, Pisces, the lunar eclipse, which I'll touch on as well, and the first week in September being a week 9. So we're entering September with a lot of energy pertaining to endings. And it's not just endings, it's not just the one thing. And 9, when you think of 9 numerologically, it has a kind of an overarching theme of endings. That's kind of the main message of it. But when you really get into the crux of it, it's like, well, what creates an ending? What is an ending all about? What needs to end? What is ending that we might be avoiding? There are going to be many different dimensions of the theme of ending and how it could transpire within yourself, within the thoughts, within the emotions, within the body, and within the energetic self, and the space around you, the environment around you. Now, given that we have Saturn moving into Pisces, and that's going to be that's retrograde, and that is going to be on the 1st. So Saturn is moving into Pisces retrograde on the 1st, with 4 nines in effect for the first week, and also the lunar eclipse in the first week as well. So there is a lot of action happening in the first week of September. So we're going from a very strong August, which is the 8 energy. We're going to leave August with in a week 8, and then we're moving into a week 9 in all of this 9 energy, and also the lunar eclipse in Pisces with the North Node in Pisces. Now, the nodal placements, the North and South Node coincide with the eclipses, right? So they're the positioning where the eclipses reside. So given the North Node is in Pisces, we have the full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces on the 7th. I think it's the 7th or 8th. 8th, I think, could be also European time, or European date. But I look mostly on Pacific time or North American time. So I try to capture European, and at least just to give a little bit more range. But with this lunar eclipse in Pisces, with the energy already starting to occur, Saturn moving into already retrograde, moving into Pisces, there's going to be a very strong theme entering the month of September regarding transformation, releasing, of course, insights, enlightenment, even dismantling illusions, right? So you might even find yourself all of a sudden realizing something new, thinking this already happened to me. This is what I talked about in my car, and this is why I'm doing a live of the forecast rather than what I was doing before, because I realized where I was sabotaging myself. And I have a very strong propensity to hide behind creative work. So if you find me dishing out tons of creative work, it's actually me sabotaging myself, which is really funny because actually I love creative work and I love what I do. But what I would find myself doing is I would get lost in my creative work and just create and create and create, and lose sight of all these other areas that I need to look at, I need to focus on, and I need to work through. But my deeper conditioning was creating these distortions so that I would focus my energy in one particular area while not looking at the whole. And it's not that I don't look at the whole, it's just I haven't looked at it in a certain way that I have recently, where I realized where I was sabotaging myself, where I was putting too much energy and not creating a clear path for my growth. So we are always constantly going through these shifts and changes within ourselves to peer beyond the layers of illusions within ourselves to see where we are holding ourselves back, or where we are maybe giving too much, Pisces, or where we are losing a grip on reality, perhaps as well. You know, it happens. It happens to all of us. So, hi, Farson. Okay, I'll explain numerology right next as we move in here. Okay, so, and just if you're new to numerology and you're not sure what it is, numerology is the ancient study of numbers. It goes as far back as astrology, and it's the universal language is numbers. So a lot of you might find people who are into sacred geometry, which I'm not. I don't really know too much about, but the numbers all have weight and placements with regards to the creation of life. And the study of numbers, when you really get into it, holds energy and meaning with each number. So each number has a symbolic meaning as far as the way it's written, but it also has a very energetic weight to it. And it's very similar to astrology in a way. I've found personally that numerology has allowed me to understand a lot more about myself. That's just my personal take. There's something about numerology where when you really get into it, there's a lot of depth in it. And I'm sure astrology as well. And I don't mean to say it's like deeper or whatnot. It's just I found it for myself. It resonated with me on that level. But so when we look at 9, so we have a traditional month numbers, 9, September. Then we have a universal year 9, and that's calculated by adding the numbers together. So 20, 25, so 2025 gives us the 9. So we're in a year 9, and that frequency of the 9 is what I'm speaking to right now. So when you even look at the 9, how it's written symbolically, you have the top portion of the 9 curved in. And the top portion of the 9 curved in really symbolizes the transition that we go through when we're about to transition, when we're about to move into a new phase of being, into enlightenment, into a knowing, so a death and rebirth. Every time you go through some kind of a breakthrough, an awakening, an aha moment, distilling illusions, detaching from something, a breakup, leaving your career, you're in the 9 frequency. And the 9 holds that weight of translating what's happened through the process of detachment, letting go, death and rebirth, separation, however you want to call it. The Bardo's Tibetan's called the I think it's Bardo. The transition between death and life. So the in-between phase, right? So the death is the ending and the life is the new. And that's where you move then into the 1, a new cycle. So you have 1 to 9, ending at 9 gives you that transition of the letting go, the death. And in that death phase is also the void. It's in Hermeticism, it's also referred to as primordial chaos, prima materia. And in that phase is the void. It's the after the dust settles, we get to create something out of it. We get to create something, we get new insights. Sorry, I'm not looking at my screen too much because it's my screen went a bit weird and it's giving me a bit of eye strain. So yeah, and numerology, I came across it years and years ago, but it never really stuck with me until I was really going into major life change. And it helped me through, it helped me understand a lot with myself. And then I applied it to my work and working with other people. And now I guess intuitively, instinctively know how to speak to it. And it just is like second nature in a way. So ask away anytime. I'm happy to expand on any of the information. So, okay, so we're going into September. So that 9, right? The 9 is now amplified by 4. So we have a universal month number 9, which is the 9 added with the universal year number. So you have 9 and 9, which gives you the root number of 9. And the universal year number. So we have the 3 month number, universal month number, year number, plus the first week in September. The first week is week 36, which gives us a 9, right? So we're going into September in the phase of death and rebirth, to be continued, the rebirth part, right? So we're going into September in the frequency of endings, right? Transmutation, transformation, again, enlightenment and awakening. We have to go through this phase is one of the most predominant phases for evolution. So we're going into September in the week of 9, a 369, which was actually Tesla's kind of like sacred number. The number combination 369 was what Tesla was famous for working with. So he had a whole mathematical formula based on the 369 model, or the 369 calculation. I'm not a mathematician by any means. My math is horrible, but there is magic to this. And whenever you get 369 together, even if your life path 3 or 6 or 9, and maybe you have 369 in your chart, I know whenever I'm around a 3 or a 6, I also have 9 and 3 in my chart. But whenever I'm around a 6 or a 3, or even a 9. 9s are complicated, by the way. So 9s can be very aloof, not easy. We're not an easy bunch. But whenever I get around a 3 or a 6, there's a synchronistic synergy that happens. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. There's something really nice and really special about this combination. So we have this sort of like magical flavor going into September in the first week with the lunar eclipse in Pisces and Saturn moving into Pisces as retrograde. So we already have Saturn retrograde, and it's moving back into Pisces where it was before, before moving into Aries. So you may be met as we move into September with repeats from the past in some kind of way. Now, it can be in your environment, in your life, it can be with relationships, it can be within patterns within yourself, it can be realizations, which is what I experienced, where I all of a sudden had a breakthrough of an illusion that, again, I was still sabotaging myself. But we need to go through these layers to see where our blind spots are and to revisit and to restructure and re-strategize. And that's what the first week is teaching us, or is offering us, I should say. So we also have the lunar eclipse in Pisces, right? So the full moon is moving into Pisces. That's the last. Pisces is at the end of the zodiac calendar, and it is a total lunar eclipse. So it's going to offer the blood moon effect. It's called the blood moon, where it's going to be red. But it's only going to be visible in Australia, Africa, and Asia. And it's traditionally called the corn moon because we are in Virgo season. We are in a time of harvest. And this season allows us to let go. It allows us to see what we're holding on to. What are we conforming to? What are we trying to control? What do we have our minds set on so tight, or our expectations, or woulda, coulda, shoulda stuff, right? And this first week here is really assessing our attachments, what we're holding on to, ways of working, ways of being that no longer fit with who we are becoming, and where we want to go, where we want to evolve towards. And this first week is all about that. It's all about addressing these deeper, again, attachments and patterns and the illusions, really looking at breaking through our own illusions. So again, 369 energy, first week, very special. Pisces, lunar eclipse, very special. The North Node also in Pisces, which gives us a little bit of a flavor of destiny, of where we're going from a very deep, soulful place, from a place where you internally know, you have a feeling, you have a knowing of where you want to go, what you want to do, the path that is starting to break, something of a deeper essence of self, pointing you in some kind of direction. And it doesn't have to necessarily, it's not by force. This is going to be an inner knowing, an inner feeling, an inner sensation. It can be enlightenment, your path of awakening. So it can be in any different domain. But this North Node in Pisces is going to somehow move us towards something, but we have to let go and address what no longer serves, what we don't want to take with us, what is no longer part of our path, part of who we're becoming, etc. Right? So it's going to be a very profound shift in the first week regarding this. Then we also have Mercury in Virgo on the 2nd. So while all this distilling is happening, breaking through illusions, seeing clearly through the release, we get Mercury in Virgo, which is Virgo's ruling planet. This is the planet of communication, of clarity, of precision with Virgo, of analytical thought. So when we go through this process of disillusion and peering back the layers and challenging ourselves and gaining new perspectives and dipping into our unconscious, subconscious, more clarity is going to emerge, and the Mercury in Virgo is going to help with that. So you're going to have a combination of the mucky, transformative, maybe not quite sure of what's happening, but you kind of know what's happening in the same, or maybe you might have, again, those big breakthroughs of dismantling illusions and gaining clarity and thinking, why didn't I think of that before? And I can't believe I was setting myself up the whole time for this point, and I've arrived. There may be some kind of shift of consciousness and a realization of what you've done, who you are, what you've worked on, maybe what you've accomplished, and maybe a new way of going about it in some kind of form, a new strategy, a new sense of self, a new approach. And through this process, that Mercury in Virgo is going to give you the clarity to do something about it. So it's going to give you the clarity for communication, for thought, for analysis, and for precision. So it's really great for distilling the complex or the change into something new, right? So Virgo is allowing you to be precise and to fix and clean and clear and create a new path. So that's what's going to be in effect. It's going to be a big month in the beginning of September. We also have Uranus retrograde in Gemini on the 5th as well. So that'll push us into the 5th planet retrograde in September. So 5 planets. Again, if you feel like things are moving slow, if there's frustration, and this is also very normal. We're all human, right? I go through it. But I have found there are 2 things that are happening when we feel frustrated and when we feel like we're up against a wall. One is going to be life, the universe, ourselves, inner self, are showing us what we need to truly get real about and what we need to face and what we need to release and what we need to change. And then the other part is going to be just a natural process of change. So one of them may require some work to understand the patterns, to understand the frustration, where it really is coming from. And some of it is going to be a natural process of change, where we're maybe releasing some dormant frustrations or emotions or whatnot, right? So just be aware of that for the first week especially. Second week in September, week 2, the 8th to the 14th, is going to be a universal week number 1. So it's a fresh start. Remember, endings and beginnings, endings and beginnings. It's going to be a theme for September to October, is going to be endings and beginnings. So in the second week of September, we have a week 10, or it's actually week 37, which gives us 3 and 7, the 10, and then which gives us the 1. So the week after the lunar eclipse, we're going to have a fresh new opening, dynamic energy, innovative thinking. So once the dust has settled, maybe a tower moment, maybe feeling all of a sudden shook up, maybe you've worked through some illusions, maybe you've had an awakening, maybe you've had a shift of consciousness, whatever happened, the second week in the waxing crescent of the moon, which is the phase after the new moon, moving to the first quarter. So you have a week within the waxing crescent, and then we have a week 1, right? So the second week in September is a week to get clear. And we also have Mercury in Virgo, which is going to be very favorable for communication and for clear thought. So we're going to, all this retrograde stuff's happening in the background with big planets, like big, we have, again, Chiron, Pluto, Neptune, Uranus, Saturn. Those are all big planets. Those are big deal planets, right? So they're all retrograde. But we have this little Mercury in Virgo, I don't say little, but Mercury in Virgo is like that sliver of light for us to have clear thought, for refining, for communication, for clarity. You're going to be able to create something out of that in the second week with the week 1, right? So week 1 is innovation, ideas, it is building, it's good for leadership, entrepreneurism, etc. Yeah, so that's going to be week 2. And then week 3 is September 15th to the 21st. And this is a week 11-2. So it's week 38, which gives you an 11-2. So we have very nice, that is on the week of the solar eclipse. So the week of the solar eclipse arrives on the 21st. That's in Virgo again. So that's the second new moon in Virgo. The moon has shifted into Virgo. And it's a solar eclipse. It's a partial solar eclipse. And it's a week 11 master number, which this is the September month. It's all about magic and synchronicities, and these numbers and dates are lining up like clockwork. The more I've looked at this from more of like, again, I'm not an astrologer, but I like to connect the dots and see what's happening maybe from I guess like synergy or synchronicity, these meetings in the stars that happen with the numbers and the planets and dates and whatnot. So it's lining up perfectly, and everything happens in this natural rhythm. Where again, the third week, we have an 11 number, which is the most intuitive number. It's the master visionary with the solar eclipse in Virgo, right? We also have Mercury entering Libra by that time, and Venus, that's on the 18th, and then Venus entering Virgo. So relationships will get a little bit more analytical and precise, good with communication. We're starting to slowly enter Libra's energy before this new moon. So Libra is coming into the story, the scales, balance, right? So we're going to be met with a bit of balance, kind of like mid portion. We have the 15th to the 21st is the third week. So kind of like later portion of the third week, we're going to slowly start to feel like we need some balance back in our life, right? And the analytical mind of Virgo, the precision, Libra is second in line to perfectionism, by the way. Libra needs the analytical mind of Virgo, so it takes the analysis that Virgo has done. It is takes the unearthing of certain things that Virgo has dissected and analyzed, and moves it into assessment for restructuring and recalibration. And anything that has been exposed in Virgo season, maybe within our health, maybe habits that don't serve us, maybe ways of being that we haven't seen within our deeper self, will become unearthed. Libra brings it into balance, and then tilts into the underworld, or brings into the underworld the aspects that we need to really work on, that we really need to get real about and go deeper within. So that tilts us into Scorpio season. So by week 4, we're in a week 39, which is a 12-3. So week 39, you add the 9 and the 3, gives you a 12. You add the 1 and the 2 of the 12, which gives you the 3. So the fourth week is a week 3. And the fourth week is very nice in numerology for communication. It's very bubbly, it's very cheerful, it's very joyful. It's very, very communicative. And with Mercury in Libra, with the 3, the fourth week, you might find yourself wanting to create, right? So Libra is a very also creative archetype. It likes beauty and luxury and culture. Ruled by Venus. Venus is the planet of pleasure, luxury, art, creativity. So the fourth week can be very compatible with the 3. We got a lot of numbers going on here. So the fourth week is going to be very compatible with communication, creativity. Again, so you might feel a bit more creative. There's going to be, by the end of September, new energy coming through. You're naturally going to feel the 1 energy coming into effect of October, right? So we're at a 9 in September. Then we move to October, which is a month 10, and it's going to be a universal month number 1. So this is the end of the number cycles where we revert back to the root number because of the 9. So we have the year 9. I hope that made sense. I don't know if I'm confusing it or not, but we have the year 9, and all the month numbers leading up to September will all match, right? So I've spoken about this earlier before. They all coincide with, well, the 9 basically drives the month number back to its origin number. So it's been a double number for each month. I hope I'm making sense with that. So you have the same universal month number with the month number because we're in a year 9. So that has been in effect until September, and then going into October, it's going to start to change. But we do have a 1 month in October, which is all new energy. And with numerology going into a new year number, it's slowly going to take effect by the end of November. by, I feel, the end of September, you're going to have a very strong clue as to what your new year could possibly, well, I don't want to say bring to you, but a theme and direction for the upcoming year, the early portion of the year anyway. I know we're still far away from it, but it's going to give you a big clue this month of September of what had to happen this year to line you up with a new chapter of some kind, a new cycle, a new understanding, new realization, etc. So this, by September, you'll probably really understand that. And then in the week 4, we also have Mars in Scorpio on the 22nd, which is going to be quite intense. Plus, on the same day, on the 22nd, we have the Sun moving into Libra. So we have Libra season and the equinox on the 22nd of September. That's in the 4th week. On the 24th as well, there is Mars in Scorpio squaring Pluto in Aquarius. So be very, very, very cautious. By the end of the month, there may be very strong power struggles. So there might be a lot of intensity. Just be very careful by the end of the month. I know we're a month away from that, but just put it in your calendar. September 24th, meditate, ground, meditate, have a practice in place in case things get really heightened. I already went through that. I think it was a week or 2 weeks ago, I think it was, with Mars and Libra. Yeah, kind of caught me off guard there. But that pretty much sums up September. So, and then there's a 5th week with only a couple of days left of September, which is going to be the 40th week, which equals a 4. So we're going to end the month on the very little bits of the month, the last 2 days, very structured, kind of a more structured end to the week. But September is going to be quite telling, I feel, for a lot of us. Hi, Chris. Hi, Roxy. Okay, so I'm just going to go into, actually, I'm going to pull a card for each zodiac sign. So I'm going to look at, one tarot for each sign, and then I'll give you a bit of a general overview. And I think what I'm going to do for I still have to record the full moon in Pisces. I haven't done that yet, but I'll record the full moon in Pisces, I think, on Sunday, the lunar eclipse. And I'm going to do readings as well in those videos now. So I'll put them at the end of the video so you can skip ahead. I'll have timestamps in them. Okay, so let's look at the main energy for September. I had my cards upside down. It's funny. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to look at, I hope I have enough room here. So I'm going to start with Aries. I'll just start with Aries. I'll go around the calendar and I'll pull one tarot for each sign. And you can look at these as your sun, moon, rising, or Venus, whatever you like. Okay, Aries. Taurus. Gemini. Oops. Gemini. Cancer. Leo. Virgo. I'm not surprised with these cards. Actually, it's kind of funny. Libra. Scorpio. Sag. Capricorn. Aquarius. Pisces. Thank you. Thank you, Roxy. Okay, So looking at the main energy for the month, actually, I had my deck upside down and it ended up being the Queen of Fire in reverse. And what this means in reverse is just exactly what I spoke about. So I wasn't really, again, like I said, I'm not really surprised by these cards coming out. Um, Queen of Fire reverse is, second guessing ourselves, holding ourselves back, and sort of like um, questioning our self-authority, questioning our light, questioning our expression, or feeling very, very sort of holding ourselves back from expressing ourselves fully and from being seen. There could be a little bit of the Five of Cups also came out for the month, which again, not overly surprising because it's going to allow for us to really shake loose some of that cellular memory, some of these old patterns, some of the emotions that we're holding on to. Again, the 9 is all about the art, mastering the art of detachment, non-attachment. And it's through the art of non-attachment is where we become more. But our old fears and our old conditionings hold on to what's familiar unknowingly. We do this unconsciously. So this month, again, especially the beginning portion of the month is going to be very telling. And it's going to really invite us to take a look at what we're holding on to, what we're maybe holding on to of the past, or thoughts or ways of, again, attachments. I don't want to keep saying the same thing, but there's a theme here at the beginning portion that's going to could be challenging, but it also is an opportunity. It is an opportunity, truly, an invitation, an opening to question where we have been losing ourselves, or holding ourselves back, or sabotaging ourselves, or holding on to something. So the more we can detach, and it's not about being cold or non-caring. It's a fine line, and it takes a lot of inner work to discover this, of where we need to let go in order to love more, in order to be more, in order to understand life more. And we aren't able to expand our consciousness. We're not able to evolve or heal through holding on, through repeating patterns that have held us back in the past. So again, that's going to be a very, very strong theme for the beginning portion, for sure, the beginning portion of the month, first half. Okay, Aries, you have Temperance for the month. So you're going to be, I feel, pretty calm this month, taking things easy. You could be in the process of alchemy, where could be even transmutation, where you're working on a new solution, a new business, a new path, but you're taking your time through it. You're not, which is really great for Aries. You're not rushing, you're not impulsive, you're not pushing, you're just being and allowing, which is quite nice for Aries, isn't it? So there's something here within the month where you're dropping into a very nice ability to create and to be and to transmute, to transform. So allowing for the process to occur naturally rather than by force or through fear, which is pretty much the theme for the month, or the opportunity that we can drop into. So for Taurus, you have the Eight of Pentacles, which is very Taurus. For Taurus, it is a month of work and dedication. Now, the Pentacles can have anything to do with our body, physical self, career, which could be more in this case, but also mastering your craft. So investing into your future, investing into your body, your health, your home, your finances. So very Taurus energy showing up this month, but you're going to be hard at work. I feel very focused on something, you're really dedicated, anchoring in, rooting in to some kind of change that you're creating in the material and physical world. Then for Gemini, you have two cards that came out, surprise, surprise, for Gemini. The Page of Cups and the Fountain. And you can see these two cards together. The Page of Cups here on the side is being very creative. It could be two things. You have the Fountain with it, which is going to be a spiritual awakening, a realization, enlightenment. It's the oneness of all. So you're dropping into the connectedness or the rhythm of life, the rhythm with the universe, with yourself. And the Page of Cups it could be sort of a healing of the heart, or opening your heart in a way that you haven't felt before. There could be new love here. There could be a new expression of love. There could be also creative ideas that may arise this month for you. So very nice energy. You're going to definitely feel something shift on a very deep emotional level. That's going to give you something new out of it. So it can help with relationships. It can help with your sense of self, your emotional self as well, and creative work. For Cancer, strength. So for the month of September, Cancer, you're going to feel stronger and more empowered with yourself. It's almost a realization that you're coming to, where you're realizing how strong you truly are. How maybe I feel with this Piscean influx of energy showing up in the beginning of the month, you might realize something about yourself that where you've been holding back, where you've been playing small, and where you've been limiting yourself or feeling, I don't want to say weak in a weak way, like strong versus weak, but disempowered, where you maybe lost faith or confidence within yourself. It's returning this month. You're going to feel very, not only strong, like strength, like in the literal sense, but you're going to feel very empowered and very determined to do something, and also very good managing your emotions and other people's emotions as well, because you feel solid, you feel balanced, you feel whole in some kind of way. And I feel also, if you're working towards creating change of any kind, you're going to take it head on. You're going to just make it happen. So you're kind of like welcoming a very strong energy for the month of September, strong expression of yourself. Leo, we have the Ten of Cups. So for Leo, you're going to notice this month a very nice harmonious balance, the theme of balance and harmony, with family, either family and or a relationship. Relationships can feel very harmonious, very balanced. Even, again, family matters. Things in your life just may all of a sudden feel very good after maybe a long time, Chris. Yeah. It's nice. It's a very harmonious energy for September. So emotionally, you're going to feel very balanced. Again, friendships, relationships, family matters will feel really good. And you might even feel that, oh, I've kind of like arrived at this nice place. I've worked so hard, or things just feel like they're naturally flowing and falling into alignment. There's no friction, and there's no, butting heads or animosity. It's just nice. It just is. It's very peaceful. So there's a nice rhythm. And I feel it's like a long time coming for some of you, where you've really been feeling a lot of friction maybe before in the past, but now it's something is starting to flow in that domain. Farzin, are you a Leo as well? Chris is. Virgo, Page of Pentacles. So for Virgo, I would say this is Virgo for sure. Page of Pentacles. It is nice, Marilyn. Good. Yeah, Virgo, Page of Pentacles. This is, oh, you're Virgo. Okay. Well, this is you then, for you, Farzin. Virgo, month of September, you're in your element. I mean, this is, look, you can see the card, the person with the pentacle in their hand, and they're excited. They're ready to create. They're ready to build. They're ready to try new things, study, invest. It's all, there's a lot here that you can, I feel something around building the foundation of something, if this is resonating with you, but it's bringing a lot of excitement. You have two new moons in your sign. You have a second new moon later portion of this month, which is very auspicious. And I feel you, if you, I don't know about you, Farzan, but I know a lot of, I know some other Virgos, and they've been having a really hard time. So I don't know if it's resonating with you or not, but you're in the spotlight right now, you and Pisces, especially this month. Um, and mostly because the South Node is in Virgo, and the South Node being the tail of the dragon. It's like the karmic release. So you may also be noticing certain situations arising, or maybe you've already gone through it this year, where you've had to dig a bit deeper than usual to work through certain situations or to make changes within yourself or within your life. However, this month, you're going to see the results of it. You're going to have a clear realization of your direction and where to invest your efforts, right? So the Page of Pentacles is very new career path, new project, new sense of self, new health and wellness, new home. Like, it's very new energies coming in, and very well could be taking off in October, right? Given what's sort of the timeline of things that are happening. Oh, nice. Beautiful. Oh, that's exciting. Okay. Beautiful. Well, have an excellent month ahead, because I do feel there's a lot of opportunity for you. Libra, you have the Knight of Cups. This is Cancerian energy. However, I feel, yeah, you're very welcome. That's exciting. Yeah, there is a lot. For Libra, you have, in the month of September, very, very nice energy of love. Now, this can show up in many different ways. It can be self-love. It can be you're taking action towards relationship dynamics where you can take care of others or just be there for others. You know, Libra energy is very much of kind of service. It takes some threads from Virgo into a different way of kind of functioning, or like different traits or whatnot. But this is like very, very kind and generous with the heart. You might even be feeling more vulnerable than usual. You might be feeling very, there could be new love, a new relationship coming in, very expressive of the heart, very, well, it's forward moving energy here. There could be someone also coming to you with love, maybe, but I feel it's mostly you. I feel you're going to be wearing your heart on your sleeve a little bit more and being more expressive and very tender. I feel it's a very nice, loving energy, very slow, kind of slower, but moving, moving forward, or creating connections that are built with love, with tenderness, feeling maybe even softer than usual. For Libra, if you've been feeling a little bit tense with the Mars in Libra, something's going to soften out really well. Scorpio, you have the Three of Pentacles. You're going to notice opportunities this month show up where you can collaborate. So this is going to be partnerships, business partnerships, collaboration, working with others. Either it's going to show up in your life, or you're going to have ideas around this. So something to do with, again, working with others, business. I feel it's going to be more business in the realm of business and growth in your career. Again, this could be any ideas. We're considering networking, building a team of some kind, or finding like-minded individuals. This is something of a theme for you in the month of September, where I feel, given what's going to happen in the first portion of the month, you might even be restructuring this. There may be a shift, a great shift within your work environment of, again, who you want to work with, who you want to associate with, who you want to partner with. And you may even have some realizations, again, this disillusion aspect that might show up in the beginning portion of the month. You might even have realizations around something that had always been there, maybe around you, or I don't know how to describe this. It's like, the situation where, hi, Carrie, those situations where you all of a sudden, I mean, I've gone through this many times, where all of a sudden it's like, how did I not see that before? This person was always there, or that situation was always here, or something of that nature is going to show up. I feel for some of you where you're going to have a clarity or a shift of perception on a situation dealing with, again, work partnerships, collaboration, etc. So you might have all of a sudden this like, oh, how did I not see that before? And why didn't I take that opportunity before? Why didn't I do that before? It's going to, I feel, bring you a lot of clarity in that domain. Where are we? Sagittarius. The Four of Pentacles. Sagittarius is going to be a little bit more protective or guarded. Now, this could be financially, where some of you may be holding on to finances, being very frugal, be very careful of not dropping into lack or scarcity or, a fear-driven relationship with money. You could be tested in that domain. If you find yourself dropping into that, shift it into a different perspective while also being responsible financially, but try not to let it rule your life in some form if it's resonating with you, if it is a financial thing. It is going to be more of protectiveness and guardedness. You might be, even for some of you at home, you might be feeling very drawn to be at home and in your safe space for some. But for others, it could be on the financial side where you might be holding on quite tightly to finances. Okay, Capricorn, Seven of Swords. So Seven of Swords for Capricorn means one of two things. One thing, the first one, is going to be feeling very scattered. So you might have a lot on your plate. You might feel very displaced. Your mind might be very scattered. You might be feeling as if you're going in many different directions. Or some of you might literally be working on cleaning up something of a destructive nature. Now, it doesn't have to be major destruction. Maybe you already went through it, where it's like someone you're dealing with could be creating problems in your life. This could be through foul play or deceit. So watch out for that. But I feel you're going to know. I mean, Capricorn, you're pretty good at getting real about situations and knowing where the BS lies, right? So I feel that you're going to be cutting through any kind of layers or individuals who are creating extra chaos or tension in your life. But this is the month where you're cleaning that up. So very Virgo, cleaning up maybe a relationship, maybe cleaning up something that fell apart within something that you were working on. But this is the month of sorting it out. And it kind of, for some of you, could have come at a bit of a cost, or maybe something fell apart in order for it to be reestablished or restructured. So there could be a little bit of distrust in there. Some of you may have lost trust with a person or a situation. So it could be, again, clearing things up, like something's really scattered that I feel you could be working on. Aquarius, you have the end of a chapter, the World. So congratulations for Aquarius. Aquarius, you're basically at a point in the month of September. Now remember, with the 9, you may still have a bit of endings, but it's going to propel you into a new sense of self. So you're at a place where you're finalizing an old sense of self, an old chapter. Like, this is epic. It's a big chapter. And you're at the World where you're starting to peek through or peer through into a new version of yourself. Yeah, nice. I just got shivers, actually. So you're going to notice after September how different you are. And you're going to embrace your unique self, because that's who you are. You're different. And you're different. Your differences can trip you up, like they do for all of us. We all have these archetypes within us. Your differences can trip you up because you may feel that you're unique. Therefore, it can go in the shadow side of feeling too different to fit in, or feeling too different to feel accepted, or feeling too different to have something to offer. That's all going to change. And so you're going to realize this new version of yourself, which is going to empower you. And this is your with Pluto in Aquarius, and I remember watching this in a video. An astrologer was saying this in a video previously when Pluto went into Aquarius. Was Aquarius is going to be a pioneer, and before Aquarius was sort of seen on the fray because of its uniqueness. But that's going to change. And I feel that you're really going to see something in this domain in September. So there still might be shifting of the old, but you're going to become more of yourself. And that's going to empower you even more to take the lead in some kind of way. And it doesn't have to be in a leadership form, but it can be in how you feel about yourself. And that's exactly where you need to start. So it's going to start a whole chain of events within yourself, all of a sudden realizing that you've made it. You've arrived at some kind of level in your life and with who you are. So yeah, really nice. And then Pisces, the Eight of Fire. So Pisces is, well, this is we're in the North Node of Pisces. Pisces is a highlight, Virgo and Pisces. Pisces, you could have anywhere from downloads, a lot of energy coming in, a lot of downloads, maybe even wanting to communicate and wanting to burst out and express and to share. Some of you might have travel. Some of you, you're welcome. That's exciting. No, I love that for Aquarius. It's good. You might even have experiences of travel, of new communication coming in from different places. So be open. You can see this is a very open card symbolically. So you may notice this opening in many ways, right? So energetically, communication, ideas, downloads. This is your destiny starting to crack open, especially with the lunar eclipse in Pisces. You're going to notice quite a big shift at the beginning portion of the month. And it could crack something open that's going to be very important for your growth. And like I said, some of you might be traveling, you might be opening your doors to long distance overseas stuff, but also even downloads, ideas, creativity, all the good stuff. Okay. Yeah, that's it. That's all. Thank you for joining. Thank you for your patience with the video mess up that happened earlier. It was good to see you here, and enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the start of September. Remembering the first week is very pivotal. It's going to offer quite a lot of insight, I feel, and transformation, because we can use more of that, right? Okay. Anyway, thank you all for being here. It was always good to see you, and take care.